Time now for our point of view segment. Our thanks to Bill Ryder for putting that piece together. So Allen Iverson reportedly getting close to announcing his retirement from the NBA, even though he hasn't officially played since 2010. Gary, when I say Allen Iverson, what do you think of?
A great scorer, a great competitor. He did a lot of things that people didn't understand. He was there every night like I was, and everybody's looking at him like this, that because of his attitude and he hasn't played and he tried to get back in the NBA. But look at him as what he did when he was with the Sixers. Mm-hmm. He was a great competitor. He went at everybody. He was the scorer that he was. He would never be another little man scorer like that ever in history, I don't think, of the way he can play basketball.
Gary, what were the biggest challenges in guarding Allen Iverson?
My biggest challenge was to not let him cross me open and break my ankles, for one, and then plus, you couldn't let him have both worlds. Him and Tim Hardaway wanted both worlds. They wanted to break you down and go to the bucket and then plus shoot the jump shot, and both of them could do that. So when my thing was, let me just keep him in front of me and hope that he doesn't make jump shots and with it contested, and let him beat me that way instead of beating me all the ways, because when he penetrates on me, he's breaking everything down.
Where do you put him in your top players to have to defend? Where is he on that scale?
Oh, he's up there. I think he's got to be in my top five.
Top five?
He has to be in my top five because he was the hardest player because he's so small and he was so quick. Mm-hmm. And he can do both. He can shoot and he can drive and he'll finish.
We all think of Allen Iverson as a 76er. You guys both ran around in that same city. What's your memories of Allen Iverson, on the court or off the basketball court?
Well, on the court, I think you have to bring back his dog mentality. You talk about a guy who was willing to have the ball at crunch time, who wanted the ball, he wanted that moment, and he always seemed like he always was able to complete that moment. A guy that when the ball's in his hands, it didn't matter if he was crossing your way, if he was hitting a jump shot, getting guys involved. You knew when Allen Iverson played, you had a great chance of winning, and that's the most important thing. Off of the court, he was a guy, if you knew him, he was a soft-spoken guy, sit down, relax, well knowledgeable about sports, loved the game of football, and he was just a good kid. I think a lot of people just kind of look at it from outside of the way he acts in media, or the way he acts.
Speaking of media, you cannot say the name Allen Iverson and not think of practice. Gary, is the rumor true that you might have had something to do with practice?
You know what, Chris? What it was we were out somewhere on a summer, and we were all out having a good time. And we had a little bit too many. We had a little bit too many
waters.
And he asked me, he said, how do you keep your body in so good of a shape and don't get hurt and stay always on the court? And I just told him for real. My coach, Karl, didn't let me practice. So that was it. I said, you have to stop practicing. And
what was your reaction after you saw the press conference?
Oh, no, not this. Don't say it like that, Allen. Don't do it like that. But when he said it, and I said, no, that was not our conversation.
So essentially, you were telling him not to practice, so then he takes that, goes back, and hence the famous practice?
And I seen the interview, and I said, no, don't do that to me. And then all of a sudden, it gets back to Larry Brown, and Larry Brown approaches me when we played him, and he said I'd created something. But I didn't.
Larry Brown came to you?
Yeah, he came to me after a game where we played him, and he said, look what you've created. And I said, Coach, I did not create that. I told him what my coach let me do, and I know you're a different coach, so don't get that to me. Don't do that.
Why didn't you just say, Coach, I was drunk? I don't know what I said.
I should have just said, Coach, I'm drunk.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, Coach. I was drunk.
One thing I'll say as an NBA fan is, after Jordan retired, Iverson was the number one guy that I would pay to watch. He was that exciting. He was just all over the place, and the way he could score.
You know what's exciting to me, Gary? You got to do one practice for me. Just do it your best Allen Iverson impersonation, please.
We talk about practice? Come on, now you talking about practice. I was like, practice.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You found out where the practice originally started from Gary Payton while having some Gatorade.